Hello and welcome to this episode of Simply Saturday, where I get to show you a card that is fast and easy to make. My name is Julie and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. Today we're going to be making a card that features the stamp set called Darling Details. Now, Darling Details is available as a bundle, but today for our fast and easy card, I will not be using the dies, just the stamps. Now, perhaps you've been around crafting or stamping for a while and you've heard the term case, C-A-S-E. Well, today I'm going to be casing a card that I saw. This was actually in an email that I got from Stampin' Up. As a demonstrator, I received a particular email that I get weekly, and this was a card that was shown in that email, and I'm going to case it. CASE stands for Copy and Share Everything. Now, of course, you can copy a card beginning to end. You can copy most of it, but change it up with the colors or perhaps the different papers or whatever. So today I'm copying the exact design. I'm only changing perhaps the colors. I'm not confident that I'm using the same colors that I saw in the photo. So here we go. We're going to start with a bubble bath base. This cardstock is 5.5 by 8.5, and I have already scored it at 4 1/4 and folded it. Then I have a piece of white cardstock. This measures 4.5 by 3 1/4 inches. This piece is going to go onto the front of the card with a beautiful bubble bath border all the way around. So let's start stamping. All right, the first thing I'm reaching for my Stampin' Pierce mat. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is stamp the larger flower from this set, and I'm going to do the outline first. I'm using Berry Burst, and this is just going to go over here on the left side of the cardstock. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do is add the center or the fill part of the flower, and I will be doing that with Bubble Bath ink. This is a photopolymer stamp set. It's completely clear. You can see through it so that you can do your placement with ease. This is considered a two-step stamp set, and in some ways it's almost a three-step. I'll show you what I mean when I say that. And then it also, I'm looking at the cover. I don't know that it's called a distinctive set, which some of them are, but this one definitely in the design of the stamps has some light and dark areas of the stamp, which I think looks more natural, and often those are the distinctive stamps. Like I said, on this case, I don't see the word, but I'm kind of looking at a distance from it. Okay. Then I'm going to add some leaves. Now I'm going to use one color of green. I'm going to use garden green. You could certainly use a light green and a darker green. But instead of that, I'm just going to stamp my first leaves off to get a lighter version. So here's my flat leaf shape into my garden green ink. I'm going to stamp it off on a scrap piece and then onto my project. So now I have a lighter version of garden green. All right, then there's a detail stamp, some little veins that go down the center of the leaves. So I will use that with the full strength garden green ink and line it up down the middle of my leaves like so. Now, where I said this could almost be a three-step is there is another image, this one here, that would create the complete outline of all of those leaves. So you could actually choose to use that one. We're not going to use it in our fast and easy card today. All right, there's a small single leaf, and I'm going to use the same process. I'm going to do the flat shape part of the leaf with my garden green, and I'm going to stamp it off first and then onto my project. So I have a lighter version of garden green and a second time. Then I put the other stamp right here on the other side, and I'm going to use garden green full strength and add the detail to those two leaves. This is a set that is really quite easy to line up. I know in theory, all the photopolymer stamps that are two-step ought to be easy to line up, but some of them just are easier than others. This one I find quite simple. You can get your images right where you want them. Okay, now I'm going to use the small single flower from that stamp set and Orchid Oasis, and just put a couple of single flowers like so. All right, keeping with the Orchid Oasis color and the words, just a note. I'm just gonna drop that right in there next to the flower, like so. All right, that is all of our stamping. It's quite pretty. I love the looks. This Darling Details stamp bundle is becoming a favorite. All right, now in the card that I'm casing, I am pretty sure that they took a long piece of twine. You would need about 24 or 26 inches of twine to do this. And they wrapped it around and then tied a bow. I'm going to show you the way that I would do that so it looks like I did that, but this can be a little bit awkward. Getting your twine around the card, holding in place, getting a nice snug bow. I've tried it and I just think it's a little bit more challenging, so we're going to do it an easier way. So what I'm going to do is take a short length of twine, and I'm going to use a couple pieces of tear and tape to do this. If you've stamped with me at all, or if you've watched some of my videos, you've seen me do different tricks with the twine, so you probably already have in mind what I'm going to do. So I'm going to stretch my twine right across the front of the card where I want it to go. Okay, right about there. And I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to go ahead and attach this side. I'm just going to tack it down with a piece of tear and tape. Now, before I do it, I'm going to check it because I want to make sure now that one side is held tight, it'll be easier to do this. Stretch it aside to the other side, and that's where I want it. And so I'm going to tack that other side down. Okay, now two things is happening right now. One, I'm saving some twine because I'm not wrapping all the way around the card and making the bow and then cutting the tails. This saved several inches of twine, just that alone. And then also, I'm getting it right where I want it. All right, so I'm saving twine by doing it this way, and I think I'm making my life easier. Okay, so now I'm just going to make a bow. And it doesn't take a lot of twine to make a bow. And I do want it rather small. So once I get my actual bow created, I've got a twist going on in that loop. I'm going to start again because I don't like that twist. I think it would take longer for me to keep fiddling with it than to just start over. All right, as I was saying, once I get my basic bow tied, then I can fiddle with the size of the loops and tighten up the center until I'm happy with it. Okay, at that point, I'm going to trim it off of this long piece. Okay, now I can take a glue dot one more time, and I have set those down here. Okay, we used tear and tape there. Now I'm going to use a glue dot to attach my bow. And this is going to go, I'm just sticking the knot right into that glue dot. This can now get taped or attached right onto my twine, like so. And it appears as though I brought the twine up and tied a bow. Do you see that? And yet for me, it's so much easier to do it this way and not mess with that long piece of twine, trying to tie the bow tight enough and so forth. So there we have it. All right, we're gonna finish this up with a couple of dimensionals. I think that 4, just one in each corner is gonna be enough. Let's take a look at it and see if we need one in the center. I don't want it to sink. Yeah, it might be a little sinky. Let's throw one there in the middle. All right. Now we can line this up. center our panel that we just stamped. Press it into place, and we have a darling, simple note card. I'm so happy with how that turned out. It was a very fun card to case, and I thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll put some information for you below this video in the description box, and until next time, happy stamping!